Hi, I'm Kochina Rude.
And I'm Mama Celeste.
And welcome to
Anal About My Health. This is part one of a two-part series about HIV, and today we're talking about prevention.
So Celeste, what are some HIV prevention methods that you've heard of before?
Well, there's U equals U.
Oh, I've heard of that. Doesn't it mean something like undetectable equals untransmittable?
And Kochina, what about PrEP?
PrEP? So PrEP is let me see if I remember it right. It stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis.
So what if someone uses a condom and is on PrEP and their partner is undetectable? Do they have any chance of getting HIV?
So HIV risk is on a spectrum, right? So there's certain behaviors that are more risky than others, right? What would be something that would be like a lower risk behavior?
Taking a toe and shoving it up your hole while eating a ham sandwich.
Well, I do have to say, I don't think ham sandwiches are known to transmit HIV. Myth debunked.
I know that you, as the HIV services manager at St. James, you also encourage STI testing as well when you're getting people tested for HIV. Why is that?
Let's say that I have chlamydia and gonorrhea. And let's say that
you
normally...
have chlamydia and gonorrhea.
Done. It's said. I have chlamydia and gonorrhea, and I'm going to go out and sit on a cock. And so because my immune system is being compromised with my other infections that I have, I'm more susceptible to seroconverting. So statistically, HIV is transmitted more often between people who do not know what their HIV status is versus people who do know what their HIV status is, regardless if that person is HIV positive or HIV negative. I'd rather have sex with a guy who has HIV and knows it versus someone who perhaps is HIV positive but doesn't know their status. Because what that says to me is that this is somebody who is getting tested regularly. This is somebody who may be managing their HIV status. And this is somebody who I can have like an open dialogue with. And communication is really the important part.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's key that you're talking to your partners, like having informed conversations with your sexual partners about what prevention methods you're taking, what prevention methods they're taking, and having an informed conversation about your sexual health.
Totally.
I still think that there's a lot of misinformation about HIV these days, in spite of how much has changed and in spite of how far we've come. Let's go talk to some people on the street and see what they know about HIV.
I heard you can get HIV from kissing somebody.
Well, what kind of kissing are we talking? I'm just kidding. You can't get HIV from kissing anybody.
So, Kochina, how can you get HIV then?
Well, there are 5 fluids that transmit HIV, none of which are saliva. The 5 fluids are rectal fluids, vaginal secretions, blood, breast milk, semen, and pre-cum. Semen and pre-cum are technically considered different fluids. Pre-cum is the little itty bit that shows up at the tip of your pee-pee when you're having really excited times with your friends, and then semen is what comes afterward after you, or otherwise known
after
as
you've
your
had a lot of friends with your friends.
After you've had a lot of friends with your friends.
I just think people on PrEP are sluts.
Well, yes. PrEP can be for anyone who is deemed to be at risk for HIV transmission.
But a lot of people think that PrEP is something that you take because you want to have higher risk sex, when in fact, actually, you're decreasing your risk of transmitting HIV by taking PrEP. And it encourages you to get tested regularly and to have regular checkups. And they're having more enjoyable sex, more pleasurable sex, and more informed and safer sex.
And who are we to deny that?
Man, if you sleep with someone who's positive, you're definitely getting HIV.
Well, I would say that that's not true.
A lot of people too also say that they get on PrEP so that they can have sex with people who are HIV positive, and that's just ridiculous, because you can have sex with someone who's HIV positive and do it in a safe way.
We don't need to worry about HIV anymore. I thought it was gone.
The fact of the matter is that in today's modern age, nobody should be dying of HIV and AIDS. We have the medicine, we have the advancement in technology to control HIV and let people live happy, healthy, long lives. The problem is that those treatments and that those services are not always made available to the populations who need them most. And so our job now in the response in the field of sexual health is to get information to people and to get services to people all across the world who are still struggling with HIV and AIDS.
And just because HIV prevalence is low in one area of the world doesn't mean that it's not low in every other area of the world.
I had heard that if you use a sex toy with someone who's HIV positive, that you're gonna get it too.
So the HIV virus doesn't live outside of the human body for longer than a few seconds. It only lives in the aforementioned fluids. The second it reaches oxygen, it disappears.
So you probably won't get HIV from sharing sex toys, but you might get an STI, so it's a good idea to just clean that off, get your own, live your life.
Get your own sex toy.
Get your own sex toy. Nobody wants.
We talked a lot about HIV prevention today. Part 2 of our series about HIV is about living with HIV and long-term AIDS diagnoses.
If you have any questions, please drop a load in the comments below and we'll be sure to address them. And we'll be sure to leave some information and resources in our description. Thanks for watching. I'm Mama Celeste.
I'm Kochina Rude.
Bye.
But let's say, what if I drank someone's piss and also they spit in my mouth or whatever?
You'd be fine. You'd be great. You can't get.
Well, I would be great. I'd feel great.
Yeah.
I would love that.